Oh, hello there. Yes. Turned out sticky again, didn't it? Yeah. And then when you graduate, you take a look around and you say, hey, wait! This is the same as where I just came from. I thought it was over. Oh, that's just great. Yes, high school never ends, does it? No, and indeed austerity never ends, because oddly enough, with every single sort of left-wing pundit telling the Labour Party in the months up to the election that they were going to magically discover a £20 billion black hole, some of them actually feeding SNP leaders to that particular one, but anyway, leaving that aside, yes, we've magically discovered that, in fact, there is a £20 billion black hole that needs to be filled, doesn't it? Yes, of course. And with the country suffering after the effects of 14, 15 years of austerity, obviously the solution is more austerity, because we can't afford anything. We can't possibly get the money from anywhere else, can we? Because that's not the way that we do things in Britain. I am reminded of various uprisings there have been in the country. Think back to the origins of the Peasants' Revolt, which neatly would suggest that doing this kind of thing isn't a good thing to do in the long run. Okay, you can do it for a year or two. You try doing it for 15 years, you're going to be in problems, which of course the government is. But luckily there are loads of get out of jail free cards, which we'll come on to today. Just sort of having a look at a couple of stories that have been bubbling around. I did have to smile about the right wing generically melting down about the fact that somebody somewhere has a spray can near to a school, and they've sprayed some signs that say no whites near to a school in Birmingham. Near to a school, you understand. It's not that we're panicked about it. It's near to a school, though. Yeah. I don't know. In my day, we just accepted that there was graffiti. Most of it was marked as NF or ban the bomb or something similar. But now, apparently, you can just completely melt down because, of course, there's all that anti-white racism out there. I mean, it goes against all forms of criminality that we've learned about for 40 years, but never mind that now. We'll come back to that one as well. Yes, indeed. For example, here's Fraser Nelson being very, very sensible on Twitter. Loads of people got upset because he didn't mention stabbings. You see, the thing about wanting to ban the Notting Hill Carnival isn't because, of course, it's a whole bunch of black people on the streets of London, which makes various white people feel very unsafe. No, the whole point about it is there's stabbings, and until Glastonbury ups its stabbings rate, we're going to have a go at the Notting Hill Carnival, despite the fact that, as I've pointed out before, realistically the crime rate is about what you'd expect in London if you mass great numbers of people together. Yes, still, just reality, isn't it? That's all that is. Yes, there have been various discussions, actually quite sensible at the moment, about how to fund political parties, because there is that whole element, which we all knew was coming, of cronyism in the Labour Party, because they will give MP ships and consultancy jobs to their mates. Of course they will, because they're in charge, and that's what the British state does. It's going to knight you one way or another, and they don't really care if you're a Russian oligarch or not, so long as you give them the cash. Anyway, Julia Hartley-Brewer stunned me yesterday by being absolutely sensible. She said, what was it? If you give more than £10,000, I think you have an impact and you're getting a bigger say than I get with my one vote, and therefore, you know, limit political parties to £10,000 donations. I would say, why not have political parties funding on the actual membership they have? You could set membership at very low rates, which would actually encourage mass membership. There was a guy recently called, something Jeremy, I can't remember. Anyway, who turned the Labour Party into a mass membership organisation, which meant that it could decide what it was going to do, because it didn't have to go cap in hand to business to get money. It's a very sensible way of doing it. But of course, that won't happen, because if you're rich and you can't buy influence, what's the point of being rich, eh? All you'd have then is just your wealth to keep you busy, because, after all, somebody might start taxing it, which, of course, is the huge problem here. Those people that are very upset about two-tier policing seem to very much be ignoring some of the recent court cases. I did like this from Novara Media. Link down below if you want to read about this, about a Muslim man who got 20 months for throwing stuff at far-right protesters. The judge said he he should just have a bit more spine, basically, which I think should be applied across the board. But of course, we don't do that in right-wing media because they do love to be the victims. They do love to be the snowflake victims, even when they're not, don't they? Yeah, snowflake identity politics are us. I mean, for example, like to smile at this. This is Loza Fox, right? Okay, flagging it up to Elon Musk, his mate, right? Because apparently there's a doctor who had one of his tweets cut off, and it's not right because it got flagged up as a violation under X. And yes, he quoted, "This looks like this is top tier evil," somebody who's anti-abortion, which Loza Fox is now, unless of course his girlfriend has a problem, in which case we'll never talk about it again, obviously, because that's the way these people operate, isn't it? They're very anti-abortion when it looks like somebody might be questioning whether or not they should be wearing a cross. I mean, the rest of the politics doesn't go hand in hand with Jesus, but never mind that, eh? Yes, having a go at Loza Fox. How cheap? No, he's still here. He's still here. He's still making money out of people chucking cash at him for being a reactionary bigot. I don't think that should be allowed. Yes, anyway, so yes, we'll see about this. And of course, things that are allowed on Twitter is pretty much anything in terms of being a reactionary bigot. I did again have to smile at this, okay? Somebody whose username is nwordmover88, and for the uninitiated out there, 8 is the 8th letter of the alphabet, which is H, so that stands for Heil Hitler. Apparently, when you've got that as your username, that's absolutely acceptable, because that's Elon Musk for you. Now then, simple solutions to radical problems, right? Okay, if you've got, for example, online companies like X and Amazon and Facebook that are making a fortune, in particular in terms of the social media stuff, out of the British public, and the social media stuff in terms of foisting very nasty opinions on people, then I would suggest that we can raise a lot of money from simply fining them a great deal. I know it's not going to happen under Keir Starmer's Labour, because, like Macron's centrist government in France, they would far prefer to stoke up right-wing nastiness in the country rather than make a deal with someone who's actually left-wing. Yes, we had Alex Phillips yesterday, who was, astounded about the fact that left-wingers are criticising Starmer. Yeah, we are. We'll carry on doing it, because that's what we do. We're not stupid little snowflakes that can't deal with stuff, Alex. Anyway, do have a lovely day. The week is just trundling by, and I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I am, but it just doesn't feel like I am, so I'm slightly miffed at myself. Anyway, do have a lovely one. Enjoy. Stay cool.